why we explore Mars, the mysteries of the red planet, the history of water, the possibilities of life.
You learn something and then you design the next mission based on what you learn.
It has allowed us to literally go back in time on Mars.
The first picture will cover an area of 176 miles.
Mariner 4 began transmitting back images.
The first photograph that a human being has ever seen from the surface of another planet.
On August 20th, 1975, the first Viking spaceship was launched.
You are seeing something that no other human has ever seen before.
Former seas and mountains.
Huge canyons.
That sense of wonderment and achievement and always working towards your goal.
We can do, and we will do.
And liftoff.
Touchdown confirmed.
Mars is unavoidably special.
We've landed and we've scooped.
We've roved, we've orbited.
Together we did it, but the attitude was together we can do it.
The future is what you make out of it. You can make it real.
And here we are with Mars Perseverance, 51 years later, getting ready to do the first ever Mars return mission.
Eventually, we can bring those samples back to Earth and determine for the very first time, did life exist on Mars?
Good day. My name is Janet Petro, and I'm the Deputy Director here at America's Multi-User Spaceport, otherwise known as the Kennedy Space Center. When we started 2020, we knew we were going to have a big year at the spaceport, and I think the events and the milestones of the next couple days are really going to demonstrate that. You know, I got to give a shout out to JPL, who designed and built the Perseverance spacecraft. But I also want to say how incredibly proud I am that the Launch Services Program that we house here at the Kennedy Space Center and is going to be managing the launch of this spacecraft and the ULA rocket tomorrow is located right here at the Kennedy Space Center. You know, this is the 11th mission that our Launch Services Support Program has launched to the planet of Mars. And so the orbiters that are there and the rovers that are there was part of what our Launch Services Program provided. So we're incredibly excited to be able to be here at the launch event tomorrow. And I'd like to go ahead and introduce our administrator, Mr. Bridenstine, to say a few words. Jim?
Well, thank you, Janet, and it is fantastic to be here at the Kennedy Space Center, which of course is it's a historic and storied agency or center here in Central Florida, and to see all of these activities that are happening here again is really remarkable. I'm exceptionally excited about what we're about to do because we're going to launch Mars 2020 with the Perseverance robot, but there's so much more going on here. She talked about the 11 previous launches to Mars. This will be the 9th robot that we land on Mars. And when we think about what we've accomplished, we have discovered that at one point in time, liquid water was prevalent on Mars. In fact, the northern hemisphere of Mars was 2/3 covered in liquid water. We know that back in those days, about 3 billion years ago, Mars had a very thick atmosphere. And we know that Mars had a strong magnetosphere that protected it from the radiation of deep space. We know these things because of previous missions. With the mission that we currently have on Mars, Curiosity, we now know that the methane cycles of Mars match the seasons of Mars, which could be an indicator, it's not definite, but it could be an indicator that life may very well still exist on Mars today under its surface, separated from the radiation of deep space. We have also found what very well could be liquid water below the surface of Mars. Again, another amazing discovery about the potential of life on another world. We're talking about microbial life here. And because of Curiosity, we now know that Mars is covered in complex organic compounds that don't exist on the moon at all. They're all over Earth and they're all over Mars, and of course those are the fundamental building blocks of life, and they're all over Mars. So this is the first time in history where we're going to go to Mars with an explicit mission to find life on another world, ancient life on Mars. Are we going to be able to do that? We don't know. We don't know if life existed there or not. But we do know that Mars at one point in its history was habitable. We don't know that it was inhabited, but we know that it was habitable. And now we're actually, no kidding, going to do an astrobiology mission to the surface of Mars. One other thing, a number of other things that are important, but I'll just mention a few of them really quickly. The President has given us a challenge to plant an American flag on Mars. In order to do that, we're going to need to send humans. And when we send humans to Mars, they're going to have to be able to breathe, and we can't take all of that oxygen with us. So in this mission, we have a technology demonstration called MOXIE. We're going to take the carbon dioxide atmosphere of Mars, and we're going to turn it into oxygen so that when humans get there, we know that we're going to be able to create the oxygen necessary for life support. Another very important technology demonstration on this mission is, for the first time ever, we're going to fly a helicopter on Mars. We call it Ingenuity. And Ingenuity is going to transform how we think about exploring worlds in the future. Imagine a day when we land a robot on Mars, and that robot could send maybe a dozen helicopters in different directions to make different discoveries. So there is so many things that are exciting about this mission, but one thing that I think is the most exciting is the fact that we're going to cache samples. When we study the chemistry of these sediments in the areas where we believe there could have been at one point in time life, we're going to look at the chemistry and make an assessment as to whether or not it could have been there. We're going to cache samples. And in 2026, we're going to launch a mission from Earth to Mars to go pick up those samples and bring them back to Earth for the first time in history, doing a Mars sample return mission. So there are so many exciting things about this particular mission. I want to say thank you to the team at JPL, our center out in California, that has done amazing work on this. I want to thank our partners at Lockheed Martin for helping with the entry, descent, and landing capabilities. I certainly want to thank the United Launch Alliance, which of course is providing the Atlas V rocket that's launching this vehicle. And of course, the folks here at the Kennedy Space Center that have done such magnificent work helping ULA get ready for this launch. So I just want to say it's a great day. We're going to open it up to a few questions. I want people to know I've got some other guests here on the stage. Questions are open for all of us. But Zena Cardman, as you can tell, she's one of our astronauts, one of our best. And unlike a lot of other astronauts, she's a biologist. She's a biologist that is now looking at maybe becoming an astrobiologist. So we're going to one day send humans to Mars. She very well could be one of those humans. And of course, we're going there to study whether or not life could exist or may have at one time existed on Mars. So we're very excited to have our astrobiologist astronaut Zena Cardman here. And of course, Jim Morhard, the Deputy NASA Administrator, who has spent a previous career in the United States Senate helping America achieve its goals, not just in space exploration, but national security and defense and other things. And as everybody understands, when it comes to doing what we do, we require appropriations from Congress. And Jim has been a tremendously valuable asset in helping us achieve what is now the highest budget that NASA has ever had in nominal dollars. So we're very excited. We're all open for questions, and we're ready to take them whenever you guys are. Thank you.
Hello, Marcia Dunn, Associated Press for you, Mr. Bridenstine. Tomorrow is the first leg of this relay race that we got the rundown on yesterday. It sounds crazy hard, you know, complicated, 4 launches, multiple spacecraft. I mean, when you hear about this, how doable is it? How challenging? What's the chances this is all going to pull off and these rocks come back in 2031?
Yeah, it's a Marcia, wonderful question. It's without question a challenge. I mean, there's no other way to put it, and it's not easy, and there's a lot of risk involved from a success perspective. That being said, we know how to land on Mars. Like I said, we've done it 8 times already. This will be the 9th. Entry, descent, and landing, of course, is the scariest part, just getting there. You've heard of the 7 minutes of terror. That's going to happen in February of 2021. And then, of course, operating on the surface of Mars. We have seen how harsh the Mars environment is. We saw what happened with Opportunity, with the sandstorm that covered up its solar arrays and disabled it. And eventually we had to come to the end of its useful life. Of course, that was after 15 years of productive discovery. So that's an amazing achievement in itself. This particular rover, of course, like Curiosity, it's got radioisotope thermal generation, so it's not as dependent on the solar arrays. It's nuclear powered, if you will. So nuclear decay is what creates heat, and then we transfer that heat into electricity, and we're able to power the robot that way. So I think that's a pretty proven technology. I think it will be able to sustain even in the harsh environments of the Martian atmosphere. But you're absolutely right. There's a number of risks between caching those samples and bringing them home. I'll tell you the top risk, and Jim Morhard and I talk about this all the time, the top risk is getting the budgets. We got to get the budgets in order to get the resources to go and bring those samples home. But we're planning for it. Like I said, we have the highest budget in NASA's history in nominal dollars right now, and it's in fact going up. We're at $22 billion right now. The President's budget request before the House and the Senate right now is $25.2. So we're going to be working on that day in and day out to make sure that we have the resources necessary. But let's pretend we get those resources. Then we have to launch a launch vehicle, which, as you described, it's a relay race. So we have to launch a launch vehicle, something that has never been done before, and then that launch vehicle has to successfully get those samples and bring them back to Earth. Here's what we know. We know that NASA has an amazing workforce, and of course, for this particular mission, JPL is the lead, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory at Caltech in California. And I will tell you that I am confident that given the talent that we have at this agency, that we can in fact be successful. But it's not easy, and there will be challenges ahead. So thank you for the question.
Hi, Irene Klotz with Aviation Week. So speaking of the budget, Senator Shelby on Monday introduced a coronavirus response supplemental appropriation that includes about $1.5 billion for NASA. Is that about what you estimate the financial impact of the coronavirus has been on the agency, and what are the top 2 or 3 budget drivers in that $1.5 billion? Thanks.
You know, great question. We're in the middle of looking at that. They have put in the funds in the Senate bill. As you know, with COVID, and our workforce has done an amazing job. Here we are, we're launching to Mars in the middle of a pandemic. We already launched 2 astronauts, and Bob and Doug hopefully will be coming back on Sunday in the middle of a pandemic. But those numbers, as far as what we need, continue to change. And right now, that is a good estimate today. But that could change. It is changing as we continue to look at the impacts on cost and schedule of all our programs. And we're going to continue to work those numbers as we go forward and as that bill gets to enactment.
So just at this point, what are the top 2 or 3 programs of the $1.5 billion?
You know, it goes across all the mission directorates. So I'm not saying that there's any, there's a lot of money in human exploration when I looked at it, but it really covers all of the mission directorates and the centers. So.
I would add that number one, we are very grateful to Senator Shelby for doing that. We're very grateful to the Senate, and we would ask that members of Congress, both sides of the aisle, both the House and the Senate, step up to the plate and help. There will be more impacts as time goes on. We were very careful to protect 2 missions that were essential to the interests of the nation. The first one was launching American astronauts on American rockets from American soil for the first time since 2011. And then the second mission is this one. We had to protect this mission because Earth and Mars are aligned once every 26 months. And if we have to put this robot into storage, it will cost the American taxpayers $500 million. So we've done great work protecting our workforce. We've done great work protecting these missions. But the deputy is absolutely right. There will be more impacts, and we don't know when this pandemic is going to end. And until it does, these numbers are going to continue to change, and we will be updating Congress as time goes on.
Thank you, Ken Kramer from Space Up Close. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for meeting the media. It's really great to be here. I'm an organic chemist, so I'm super excited that we're going to be collecting these samples that potentially have organic molecules in them and looking for past and current life. Maybe, Zena, I wonder if you might be working on that. And Jim, can you give us, since it's Moon to Mars, give us an up-to-the-minute update on Artemis, on the core stage, on the testing? When is that green run hot fire test going to happen? Thank you.
Yeah, so I won't necessarily be the one working on these samples that come back, but I sure will be following along with what happens with them. You know, this is a subject very near and dear to my heart. I was a geomicrobiologist before this, so this is exactly the intersection of all the things I'm really passionate about. And, you know, one of the cool things about being an astronaut is I, am no longer doing my own research. I am now part of a much bigger project than anything I could do on my own. And so when I fly in space, I will be the eyes and ears and lab notebook of someone else's research and a much, much larger collaborative research project. So I will be really, really excited to see what happens with this mission.
If I could add to that, really one of the neat parts about looking for this ancient microbial matter is we knew that in Australia, in the Polbera outback, we sent our scientists there to look for that's where we know of the oldest fossils are on Earth that we know of are there. But we sent our scientists there to look for signatures. So as our rover is looking for this microbial matter, it's really looking for signposts that will lead us there. And we've taken that data from Australia, entered it into the rover, so it's going to know how to look for it on its own autonomously.
As far as can you guys hear me with the rain? Okay, I'll talk loudly into the mic. As far as the Artemis program goes, we have right now, for the first time since 1972, we have a human landing system funded for the surface of the moon to the tune of $600 million. Not only is it funded, we now have human landing systems under contract. So those are all significant developments in the history of our agency. There have been a number of times when we've tried to go back to the moon and that has not happened. We now have that well underway. We have a budget request before the House and the Senate right now where we're asking for $3.6 billion for the human landing system for 2022. Or I should say 2021, and we need to get that funded 100%. The biggest risks that we face are not technical. We can do this. The biggest risks that we face are budgetary. And I can tell you that with the team that we have at NASA right now, I think we're in good shape. We've got bipartisan support. We're working every day to ensure that these missions are not just decadal in nature, but they're generational in nature, so they have staying power for the long term. I would also say, as far as like the tactics of this, look, the SLS core stage is complete. The solid rocket boosters are right here at the Kennedy Space Center processing right now. I just looked at them. We looked at them just 2 days ago. And let me tell you, they're beautiful. I just want to be clear about that. And as far as the Orion crew capsule, the European service module, they are complete for Artemis 1, which is an uncrewed launch around the moon, which we're going to do in 2021. We're expecting, 2021. We're expecting that the green run is going to be done by the end of this year. In fact, we're targeting October, November. So I think we're in good shape. Again, the big challenge, as you know, is not just budgetary. That's always the biggest one. But the other big challenge, of course, is the uncertainty with the coronavirus. We have had some folks get coronavirus down there at the Green Run to protect our people. We've had to stop work a number of times, and those are important things that we can't predict the future of. But we've had a lot of success in keeping our people safe, and we intend to continue that.
Hi, Antonia Jaramillo with Florida Today. My question is for Jim. As you know, so many of the workers involved with this mission weren't able to come out to the launch because of the pandemic. So I was wondering if you had a rough estimate of how many NASA employees were actually able to come out and how many had to miss out on the event. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have those numbers for you offhand, but I will tell you we minimized the amount of people that were coming here, and of course, it'd be nice to have all of these fields covered with not just NASA employees but also the public, and unfortunately we can't do that right now. But there will come a day. I don't have the exact numbers of how many people that we didn't bring. Yeah.
I might add to that, and you think about, again, it goes back to the pandemic, and we were doing the flight readiness review a few days ago, and one of the scientists from JPL, he said, when it was determined that we were going to go forward with this mission during a pandemic, he said, I wasn't too excited about it. And he said, but everybody came together at NASA. All the centers came together, all the mission directorates. We worked together as a team, we collaborated. And I've never seen anything like it where, every organization, there's conflict in organizations, that's normal. But there wasn't with this. And everybody worked extremely hard to make this happen during very difficult times. And the reason is to bring hope and inspiration to the country and to the world. And we're going to continue to do that because that's what NASA's here for.
Hey, Mr. Administrator. You like Annie Lennox? Here Comes the Rain Again? So I'm Mike from Fox 35 Orlando. My question is weather related, actually. So we're very excited about tomorrow's launch and also excited about Bob and Doug's return this weekend. But we've got this system that could come to the peninsula. Looks like it will. Wonder what the discussion is like sort of behind the scenes about if we lose tomorrow's opportunity, can we go next week? And also sort of what's happening with the conversation about the astronauts' homecoming.
Yeah, so great questions all. We have a launch window here for this mission to Mars that goes until about August 15th. And we can actually extend a few days past that if necessary. But the launch windows, should that happen, go to almost instantaneous launches on every single day after August 15th. So it's a challenge, but we could. If the weather doesn't work out tomorrow, we're still going to be in great shape. I will tell you, it looks like the weather is going to be good tomorrow morning for sure. So I fully anticipate that tomorrow morning we're launching to Mars. As far as Bob and Doug coming home from the International Space Station, which I know we're all very, very excited about, we do have some limitations. The limitations, of course, are weather and sea states. The vehicle is good. The astronauts are ready to come home. The challenge right now is the weather and the sea states. And so we have a number of different locations identified for where they could come home. If they can't come home to the Atlantic Ocean right here off the coast of the Kennedy Space Center, we've got other locations around the state of Florida all the way over to Pensacola where they would have an opportunity to land. So, but again, it's not just the weather, it's also the sea states. And we need to have very calm seas for this vehicle to land, especially on the first effort here. It is still, we have to remember, this is a test flight. We're learning all kinds of things that we never knew before, and we want to get all the data before we push it any further than we absolutely have to. So look, if the weather isn't good or the sea states aren't good, we're going to take our time bringing Bob and Doug home. Our number one highest priority is their safety, and so we look forward to bringing them home safely. But I think we're going to be okay. It just might take a few extra days, but again, they might come home on August 2nd.
Do you know when you might call it for Bob and Doug?
Yeah, in fact, we're looking at maybe a 48-hour lead time as far as making a go, no-go decision. And then as far as the location goes, we have about 6 hours before splashdown before we have to make a determination as to which location we want them, where we want them to enter. So we have options. That's a good thing here. SpaceX has done an amazing job of making sure that there are options available. Because we want to be really careful with the limitations that we push on this first flight. Yep.
Hi, I'm John from AFP, and I just have a question regarding China. With this race to Mars with China, how is NASA kind of living that?
Yeah, so I get questions about China. They obviously launched a rover to Mars as well. And certainly we welcome more science. We welcome more discovery. We encourage them to share what they learn with the entire world, just as NASA shares what it learns with the entire world. So we look forward to them doing that. I hear people frame it as though it's a race. I want to be really clear on this. This is our 9th time to land a robot on Mars. So we've already done this 8 times. And of course, you know, we've got 2 missions at the sun right now. We've got a mission at an asteroid, a robot at Bennu, a robot called OSIRIS-REx. We've got the New Horizons probe in deep space that gave us the beautiful images of Pluto, and then the object in the Kuiper belt, and now it's still traveling and giving us, in fact, now it's giving us you know, kind of a new perspective on the galaxy, because it's now seeing parallax among the stars and things like that. So of course we now have 1 commercial crew capability underway. We've got another one that is very near completion. I just want to be really clear. You know, we landed humans on the moon 50 years ago, and our budget is as high as it's ever been. So we are in really good shape. President Trump's support with the budget request and bipartisan support in Congress, the House and the Senate. You know, people can try to frame it as a race. I just look at it as, hey, here's another country doing some more discovery, and we are very hopeful that they'll share it with the world.
John McGill with Wyandotte Cable and News. This one's for Jim again. You've been the administrator now for about 3 years. What do you think is the most exciting thing that you've accomplished so far?
Well, I think it's important to note that any accomplishment that I have goes well beyond me. I'm very grateful to Charlie Bolden and his leadership. I'm very grateful to Robert Lightfoot and his leadership. And of course, now I get to benefit from the fruits of their labor, just as future NASA administrators will benefit from the labor of the team that's here right now. And but the key is NASA obviously continues to do stunning and impressive things. I will tell you, I was just an armchair civilian running a nonprofit museum in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when the space shuttles retired, and it was devastating to me. The fact that the United States of America was going to be without a human spaceflight capability. And at the time, we were all hopeful that it was only going to be a year. And then we went 9 years without any human spaceflight capability. And I think that was devastating for those of us who love and are enthusiastic about space exploration. So I think, you know, the work that it took to get us to the point where we are once again launching American astronauts on American rockets. You know, Crew 1, we're going to have an international partner with us on the first one from Japan. These are all great things. So I think probably the best thing that's happened during my time as the NASA administrator is launching humans again to space. And you know, we're working every day to make sure that those humans are eventually landing on the moon.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey there, Rachel Joy with Florida Today. So all of the Mars missions have launched on United Launch Alliance rockets, Atlas and Delta. Obviously this one is too. Why is that? And does SpaceX ever get a shot at that? What's the deal?
Yeah, so you know, there's a process when every spacecraft needs a launch vehicle, and I mentioned earlier our launch services program. They have a whole, and it's a competitive process where they take the requirements of the spacecraft, the orbit they need to get into, the performance needed by the vehicle, and they issue a bid, and everybody competes against it, including SpaceX, who's on that contract, and then they do an evaluation to see which particular rocket best meets the needs of the government to get that spacecraft into orbit. So yes, SpaceX does have an opportunity now, and they will continue to have in the future as they're quickly building up their reliability and the numbers of launches at Atlas V. But they all compete, they all use the same factors, and our LSP team does a really great job of that.
Can you be specific at all, though? What is it about their rockets, about the Atlas, about the Delta that met those requirements, or like what?
I do not. I can't speak to that. I wasn't really in that bid, but I think Atlas won the bid in that case, and of course cost is a factor also. Okay. So with SpaceX coming in with that, but the technical performance and cost and other evaluation factors are all put together, okay. And then the official makes a decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just add that if these robots take a long time to develop, and so the decision as far as you have to design the machinery specific for the acoustics and the vibrations of a launch vehicle. So the selection for this launch was a while ago, right. Long before I think I was the NASA administrator. I could be wrong on that, but I think it was before I got here. But I think that the point is, a lot of those previous missions that you talked about, there wasn't a competitive launch market at the time. It was we just had a few options, and they were all owned and operated by the government, purchased from contractors, of course, but operated by the government. So this idea where we have a launch services provider capability that is selecting, looking at competitive bids and making decisions. For our initial launches, that wasn't really the case for some of the previous Mars missions.
Got it. Yep. Thank you.
If I could add to that too, I spent a lot of time on the Senate Appropriations Committee, and look, we love our contractors, but rarely satisfied because they've got to meet their quarterly numbers, and our job is to preserve taxpayer dollars and to use them for the best benefit of the United States. And that's what we're really focused on more than anything else. And I get it, but I can guarantee you we also get those questions from a lot of other contractors too.
I'm sure. Thank you.
More questions? All right. Well, I'll just close it out then. It looks like tomorrow morning is when we're going to launch. We're very excited about it. We hope all of you attend. Folks that want to watch it virtually, we would encourage you to go to nasa.gov, watch it on NASA TV. This is going to be an inspirational moment, and of course we're very anxious about, no kidding, the entry, descent, and landing, and the great science that we're going to get starting in February. So stay tuned, and we will see you all tomorrow morning for the launch. Thank you so much.